then I would. But I can't do that. I can't just go back and travel in time as much as I would love to and tell myself never, ever, ever to start chewing tobacco.
I mean,
Ever.
you started chewing at 14.
I was in the 7th grade, so maybe it was 13.
You started chewing tobacco in middle school.
I started smoking weed in middle school.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie about that.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird compared to like
then
tobacco.
but then I was silly and I got caught and then I stopped. And we don't smoke weed.
Yeah. Nah.
Every once in a while. Yeah. I'm not gonna.
But let's go back to this tobacco.
Anyway,
so you started doing tobacco. You started chewing tobacco, which is just. It sounds so weird to hear that in middle school because I feel like that is something that most people don't do till they're older. Like I don't know many people that chew anyways, but when I do, they're like, "Oh yeah, I started chewing at 18 and
let me
with some redneck friends
allow me
I was out on the baseball field.
Allow me to rephrase then.
Okay.
I first dabbled with chewing tobacco when I was 13.
But that was when the
7th.
So when would the addiction have started?
And then I mean, I guess that's when it would have started because it wasn't super consistent, but it was like, well, now I kind of want it once a week, just like a little something in my lip, just like, oh yeah,
a little fix.
Because like at first I thought it was cool because I was trying to be like my older brother who was chewing tobacco at the time. He was in high school, and I was like, I mean, if he's doing it.
It's so weird, like the
effects
of like older.
Like, he's a high school kid. I'm in middle school. Like,
yeah. I understand that. I think that's like most people fall into that. They get like with the older crowd or anything. They want to be cool, so they're like trying to copy what these older kids are doing.
And then it started just becoming more and more of a habit. It was like once a week, and then it was like, well, now I kind of want to do it, all the time. And then next thing you know, I get to high school. I'm on the baseball team, and well, now it's every time you step on a baseball field and. It's always asking your 18-year-old buddies to go try and grab dip for you, and it was I struggled for a little while, but
so like
it is what it is.
You started with dip, whereas most of these people started with the vapes nowadays. I feel like.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
What's better? What's better in your opinion? You do them. I don't do that stuff. I don't do any tobacco product.
What's better? I mean, none of it's good for you. It's horrible. But if I were to have a preference, I'd probably, pack a
lip over vapes.
Yeah,
over the vaping life.
Yeah, if I'm being honest.
I feel like the main thing I have with the vapes, which I mean, to each his own, do what you want to do. But I think it's so weird how like all these kids. My mic just keeps going out.
I heard that.
Hello. Sorry. I think it's weird how like all these kids are getting addicted to it when like its main purpose was to help like smokers, get off of their cigarette addiction.
I think,
and then now, like, because the main thing that they have an issue with is like they don't have an issue necessarily. They do have an issue quitting the tobacco, obviously, and the nicotine because it's addictive. But like they also miss like with the pouches and the gum and all that shit. You don't get the draw like where you get to hold it. And I actually like. I'll be honest with you, like when I do cigarettes and cigars, I like that. I like that feeling of it in my hands, and I'm going up. Taking it, puffing it out, like whatever it is. I'm a big cigar person. That's about probably the only thing I do.
I'm a big party dart guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cigs inside?
I mean.
What's the thing? What was that? Like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah.
I remember people with cigs inside. It's like the big thing. Oh my God.
Never about to. I mean, cigs inside's not a bad thing. Anyway, no,
you're at the right place.
I do like cigars though. I'm a big fan of cigars and coffee.
I am a big fan of cigars. I don't know why, but
I think honestly. It's the younger generation. It's the I don't want to say millennials. It's the 2000s kids.
It's the younger kids. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
And they see that these older kids are doing it and they think it's cool. Well, they're doing it to try to quit smoking or for whatever reason it may be to follow. Maybe it could be to follow an influencer because they think it's cool. But I think that's the overall reason why everybody nowadays is getting into it.
It's interesting. I don't even. Do you know like all of a sudden it just got like. I just remember being in college, and all of a sudden it was like everyone had them. Everyone had them. Like I remember, I did actually. I'll be true. I never bought one, but I did have a bunch of friends that had it, and I would do theirs. And I remember being to the point where I noticed like I was wanting it, even though I didn't have one physically myself. I like noticed that I was with people that had it, and I would always be like, "Oh, can I have a hit? Oh, can I have a hit? Can I have a hit? Can I have a hit?"
Well, and then somebody got smart about it and was like, all right, well, if people are doing this so much, let's make a shit ton of different flavors,
Yeah.
and just mix up a variety and just hit every single one of those people that like different things, just go all across the board.
Yeah.
And once they came out with that idea and started making different flavors, people went nuts, and that's why I think it blew up so much.
And it was just so
Out
like
of nowhere.
Boom! Everyone was having them. Like everyone loved them. Everyone I know with like the Jewel jokes, everything.
And there's so many different companies that are out there now that create this kind of thing, and if you think about it, it's actually kind of gross.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm assuming it can't be the best stuff they put in those. I'm assuming.
I don't think any of those things are like FDA approved or regulated in any sort of way. So if you are smoking that shit, just be careful. Just be cautious. That's all I'm saying. You never know what you're putting into your lungs.
You do not know what you're putting in your lungs. I think it is funny though how like quickly they decide to start cracking down on them too though. Like there's that big transition of like
because they realized that they were targeting the younger generation, and they were like, "Yo, that's pretty messed up for you guys to be targeting kids. Don't do that." So they made a law, or maybe the states made a law.
Yeah.
Some of them did, some of them that they outlawed those flavored ones. And now a lot of the times you won't see them anymore. There's a lot of these companies that are going out of business, getting discontinued, just because they can't sell them anymore.
Right. I do know one person, and I don't know who does and doesn't know, but I know like one person in my life that had like major lung issues, and the doctors and all that like couldn't figure out what was going on, and like that was their only conclusion was from her vaping. Like they couldn't figure out what else was happening.
Really?
And she wasn't sick or anything. She just constantly was having like these lung problems, and they did tell her like you need to stop doing that. She stopped, and it has gotten like a little bit better, but like she can't do any type of like smoking at all. Like it's bad. Like it was bad for her.
Stay away from that, kids.
Yeah,
I'm trying to tell you. Just be careful if you're gonna dabble with that.
Definitely
kind of
not
stuff.
good for you. I mean, especially if the addictive factor, like especially when you're trying to come off of it and you're like you get irritable, you get all that other shit. Like, I mean, I don't know. The amount of friends I have that like try to quit.
Trust me, I've
like,
tried quit chewing
the last time
several times.
I feel like chewing's harder to quit than
it's gonna be the last time. It's gonna be the last can. Never is.
I feel like it's harder to quit than the vapes. I could be wrong.
I think it is.
I think it is too. I believe yours is the most addictive of all of them.
Yeah, smokeless tobacco is the most addictive.
Smokeless tobacco.
Yeah.
There you go, kids. Get into that.
Mm-hmm. Get into that.
Get into that. And if you can pick up on it, we're joking.
I mean, it just became a habit after a while. I would step out onto the baseball field, and it would just be like automatic. I would either have it in my back pocket or in my bag, and I would just say, "All right, I'm going to the ball field. All right, let's put one in." Just second nature at that point. And now it's just, I mean, that's the only time I chew tobacco is on the ball field.
That's good. At least it's only on the ball field, though.
Yeah. So realistically, I've cut back quite a bit. It used to be all the time, but now I've just limited myself to whenever I take the field, because I know I'm gonna want it. It's been so long.
I mean, I think that's just as good as like when you're addicted to it and you're doing it all the time. Like if you can cut back even a little bit, like you're just saying like I was doing it all the time and now I've restricted it only to when I'm on the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad. Now if you're on the field every day though, that's
you gotta think like I'm at practice 5 days a week.
It doesn't really matter,
But
you don't really cut back that much.
It's only maybe once or twice a day, as opposed to when I used to be running through
all day
a half a can or a can a day.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
that's true.
It used to be a problem, but if you break it down like that, it's.
I think that's important for any addiction when people are in it. It's like very good if you're able to even cut it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least that's in my eyes. I think that's props to you that you've been able to drop it back a little bit. So yeah, you're doing it all the time, all day, every day, can a day. Now you're doing once or twice a day, so maybe a can a week. I'm not saying that. You don't tell me what you're doing. I'm just giving an idea. I'm like giving like
so give or take.
Yeah, I'm just giving like a general idea of like this is what it is. Like I know when I like with me, my huge thing is like caffeine. I'm like very much on caffeine, so it's hard for me like soda, sweet tea. I'm not a big coffee drinker, although I've been getting into coffee more recently.
Mm-hmm.
But like my whole thing is like if I can cut out soda and I can get my tea down to like 1 or 2 teas a day, that's great for me. And people are like 1 or 2, like I'm talking like 32 ounce, like the big drinks.
Oh, I get it. Everybody has their vice.
Oh, everyone does for sure. There's definitely Now some are worse than others, but everyone's got their vice. But I still, at the end of the day, I think like if you do realize your problem ish, whatever it is, like, and you're able to like slowly get it back, not necessarily quit, but like you're saying, like get it to maybe a healthier, like reasonable level, like that's not bad. Like good for you, props to you.
It's crazy because like I know people that's all they drink. Like they don't drink water. They don't like water.
That was me.
Like they only drink.
I will be 100% honest on this podcast. That was me.
Like they'll only drink Diet Coke, or they will only drink Mountain Dew, or they will only drink unsweet tea, or whatever it may be. And it was wild to think that because they told me that. And I'm like,
yeah, caffeine.
When's the last time like you had a glass of water? And they tell me like,
I don't remember.
5 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, like something like that. And I'm like, that's insane.
Why is going on? That where I was like, I don't remember. I used to say that. I don't remember when my last drink was of water. Now I'm not like that. Now I almost do a gallon of water a day.
Yeah.
I try to. Now what I've noticed with water, which is crazy, it sounds stupid, but like I didn't used to drink water. And then when I started drinking water, it was like what is going on? Like in my body.
It's a noticeable difference. Like you feel a lot better.
You feel a lot better. Yeah. Like it's ridiculous how good
night
you
and
feel.
Day. Like you don't wake up tired. You wake up.
No, you don't.
You wake up.
Absolutely.
You're ready to go. Like you're not groggy in the morning. You don't feel foggy. You don't feel cloudy. Like you wake up and it's like, all right.
And you also don't need that.
It's
caffeine.
time to start my day. Yeah.
Like we don't wake up. Like I used to wake up and be like, I need to go get a sweet tea. Like I used to wake up and be like, I need a 32-ounce sweet tea from Chick-fil-A, like right now, and I would go get one, and it was fine. But then when I started drinking water, you wake up and you crave that shit less. You crave that sugar and the caffeine less and less. I'm not saying I don't want it from time to time. Still, I do, but like it's significantly less. And like you're saying, I wake up, I feel better. I also try to wake up. That's a huge thing I started doing is like waking up and having a glass of water. Just immediately like chugging a cold glass of water.
It's the best thing for you. It cleans out your system. It just starts your body. It's like a big old like a
gets you moving.
Jump
start.
It's
like
the
day is begun.
Like let's go. Now my vices it's got to be coffee and cherry Coke. Those are my two. Like all the time, gotta have them.
Okay.
If it's not a cup of coffee, it's cherry Coke. Those are my two favorites.
How many of those you have in a day?
When I was up at college. And I was practicing quite frequently. It was anywhere between like 3-4 cups a day, like 5 days a week.
That's like what I was having.
Yeah,
that's like exactly what I was doing with soda. And
yeah.
Now soda I cut out first. Soda was a lot easier to cut out for me. And now I have a soda like here and there. Yeah. And pizza is like one of the few meals where I'm like, I need a soda. I don't know what it is with pizza. I've always had this like pizza and a Coca-Cola to me is just that goddamn delicious.
It fits.
It just fits so well.
It's like a puzzle piece. It just
The other one I've heard is pizza is popcorn and soda.
Well, people I mean, you're at the movie theater. That's a pretty.
That's
common
what people
one
think.
To go
Right. Exactly. I don't do much popcorn, but I know like I cut out soda. I have occasionally one here and there, depending on the pizza place. I'm like, I need a soda for this one. Do you go have soda or pop?
Up north, we call it pop.
I know that, but what do you call it?
My pop's always called it pop because he's from Michigan. He was born and raised in Detroit, so I've always called it pop growing up.
Okay.
Everybody around me's called it soda. I know, I get it.
My family's from the Midwest, so they've said pop.
So you've heard it
I have.
times.
I've heard it both ways.
You've probably said it both ways. Am I right?
I think I said I call it soda for sure, but I probably when I was younger. And I get the logic behind it. I've heard it. Like, you get a Coke can. What does it do? It goes pop. It opens. It's not.
Because it's a soda.
It's not soda. It doesn't say. That's what. There's one girl I remember saying that. She goes, when you click the can, what does it do? She goes, pop. Pop. That's why you call it pop. It doesn't go. And she would exaggerate it. She goes, you don't open the can and go soda. She would She would be like soda. And I'd be like,
that's
okay.
not the sound the can makes. Obviously. You idiot.
Pop. Obviously, it doesn't say that. But yeah.
That's funny.
Let us know, guys, with that, what you guys say. Pop or soda?
I say pop.
Soda it is. But either way, I digress. Yeah, soda for me is like the easiest one to cut out. But I have a sweet spot for sweet tea. I know you don't, which is shocking to me.
You know what I think about sweet
tea. I
do,
and every time I hear it, it shocks me because you're one of the few friends I have where I always thought, this man likes sweet tea. And then I remember one year I said something to you about, oh, you want to go get sweet teas about something, yada, yada, yada. And you're like, dog, I don't like sweet tea. I think it tastes like. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'll let you tell me. Tell the honest what you think sweet tea tastes like.
all of my friends, all of my real friends, they know me about this because I've told them if they have ever offered me sweet tea.
Sorry, I fucking know.
I think sweet tea tastes like dirty dishwater.
It's ridiculous
It
to me.
It's the nastiest. I tried it once. I tried it twice. I've tried it 10 times. I cannot get on the wave. It's disgusting. It tastes like dirty dishwater. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
I understand. I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, I know other people don't like it, but it's just so funny to me that you describe it as dishwater.
Dirty dishwater.
Dirty dishwater.
That's exactly what it tastes like to me.
I mean, I think about it now when I drink it, but I'm still. I think about it occasionally. No, not the image, but like occasionally I hear you going like dirty dishwater, and I'm like, yeah, it just tastes too good to be dirty dishwater. Get that sugar.
No way.
I had a kid the other day I was with at work, and we went, and he doesn't usually get sweet tea. He usually gets Diet Coke, which you like Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Wait, which soda did you say? Cherry Coke.
Cherry Coke. Cherry Coke's my favorite, but I grew up with a fat dad, so we drank a lot of Diet Coke in the house.
Yeah, I just can't get with Diet Coke.
I grew to like Diet Coke. I really did. And now all my friends make fun of me for it. They call me a 35-year-old mom because I drink Diet Coke.
That's what we make fun of this kid for getting Diet Coke all the time. All the time. Because he's the only kid I know that gets Diet Coke. I mean, he'll show up in the morning at 7 a.m. with a Diet Coke.
All right, that's a little excessive.
Okay.
Like, my boss drinks a lot of Diet Coke. Like, that's all he drinks. He don't drink water. He just drinks Diet Coke. And I don't know about 7 a.m., man. Like, he usually waits till like 9 or 10 o'clock before he pours his first cup.
It's cancer.
Cancer. I mean,
cancer.
Everything around us is cancer,
no,
man.
But Diet Coke is cancer at 7 a.m.
Oh, well, I mean.
Wait till 9. Wait till lunch. But anyways, I digress. He got sweet tea this one time, and he put more sugar in it. He put 2 sugar packs in it, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, I remember looking at him, and I was like,
sugar water at that point. At that point, you're just a butterfly. You're just eating sugar water.
You get the taste of tea with it, too. But I remember literally at that point being like, why did you show me that? I remember thinking, because I like sweet tea. I'm going to really like it if I get more sugar in it. I don't need more sugar in my life. Then I go back to dehydration. Don't drink enough water. I forget about water when I have sweet tea.
See, that's just way too much sugar in my eyes. I honestly, if I think about it, and if you really break it down, there's probably just as much sugar in a cherry Coke. Like if
we have a cherry 7 up here. What's in here?
Yeah, like if you broke down all the ingredients, I don't even have one in front of me, so I couldn't tell you the ingredients. But I bet you if you broke it down side by side and like set up however much sugar was just in there in like 2 beakers and just poured it in there, I bet you it'd be probably pretty close to equivalent.
Easy. This is 45 milligrams. This can. Caffeine free though. Dude, my dad used to get caffeine free Coke.
Ugh. What's the point?
Well, you get the sugar,
but caffeine it don't wake you up. Like
that was the point, because he would want a Coke at night, and he wanted to be able to go to bed after. So it was kind of genius. And I'll be straight. I didn't notice that big of a difference.
Really?
I didn't notice that big of a difference.
Did you feel like awake?
No. I mean, taste wise, I didn't notice a big difference. Which was good for me. Like, you know, they all come out with those like zero sugars, Coke Zero, Coke Sugar Cane. Those all taste different to me.
You know what we should do is one of these days we should have just like a lineup on one of these podcasts and just like taste it, like a blindfold taste test.
I'd be about it
and see if we can pick them out, because like I know that I could pick out a Diet Coke out of the line.
I believe I could pick out
that I could identify a cherry Coke if that sucker hit my lips. Like I know. Okay, even if I had a blindfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a thought. Anyway.
We could definitely do that one day.
Yeah.
What do you think's the health? What do you think? We're on this like health kick all of a sudden. What
we started with tobacco and and we got the caffeine. But
I don't know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on like veganism and vegetarianism and all that stuff?
Honestly,
yeah, as honest as possible.
I don't listen. Here's what somebody told me a long time ago. Don't yuck my yum. You know, if that's your lifestyle, if that's the way that you want to eat, that's the way that you want to live your life. Go for it.
I'm not knocking any lifestyles either. I'm just curious.
I do not knock it whatsoever. However, with that being said,
here we go.
Yeah, about to break it down for you. My personal opinion: I could not live in a world where I couldn't eat steak. I could not live in a world where I could not eat ground beef, chicken, fish. It don't make sense to me. Like, you got to feed your body with protein. and you do that from the cows and the pigs and the other things that Mother Earth has given us to feast upon.
Right.
You know,
I
fish
agree.
in the ocean, eat those. Cows out in the wild, eat those. Pigs out in the wild, eat those. Well, bless you, Scout. I think that was a yawn or a sneeze or something. I don't know.
We got Scout in here, everybody. We got a little puppy dog in here.
Yeah, I brought my puppers
you
along
can kind
today.
of see him on the camera. You'll see him on YouTube. He keeps popping in the frame every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I have to agree with that. I mean, I don't knock anyone. First off, I will say this: more power to you if you don't eat meat. I actually think that's pretty impressive, considering how good it is.
The fact that you can get all of your nutrients and protein and everything that you need without eating meat, good for you.
Yeah,
good for you.
I think that's impressive. I think it's great. I think what's important for people to get to is like learn yourself and learn what works for you. So like just because veganism is working for you, okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I know some people that are like, you need to do this. You need to do this. Like everyone needs to be on veganism. No one should be doing plant or animal based at all. Like blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, it's worked for you, but it might not work for everyone. You know, it's not like I'm like over here trying to make everyone eat meat. I'm like, just eat what you want to eat.
No. Yeah, and I would hope you would never try to, force that upon
that's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone should. So I think it's important that, like, if you want to try being a vegan, you should try it. See if it works for you. If it doesn't, because there are some people that have tried it, it doesn't work well for them. It doesn't sit well with them. They get all sorts of issues.
You ever thought about being a vegan?
No.
Think about it for a second. What if you just stopped eating meat?
I've thought about it before. I don't want to stop eating meat.
I don't want to do it.
Now, what I will say is, have I thought about the actual issues with the meat industry and like maybe eating better meats?
Yeah.
Yes. Now that's something I think that should bridge the gap between people because a lot of vegans are like, I don't want to hurt the animals. Get that? Understood.
I think that should be
and
talked
I think
about
factory
a lot
farming
more too.
is a bitch. Is like a pain in the ass. It's horrible.
Absolutely.
It's horrible. It's horrific.
I don't necessarily agree with the way that we slaughter animals.
Yeah.
And the way that we treat animals, in slaughterhouses and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there are wild animals on this planet for a reason. At one point, we were hunters and gatherers. We found a smarter way to do it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think as we progress here, we'll find a better way to do it. That's less of the horrific way to do it. I think right now we're at this point right now where like there's just so many people and so many mouths to feed that they haven't come up with a better way to do it besides these factory farms and processed foods. Because the name of the game is like get it out there cheap, get it out there quick. Anyway, everyone's fed. Everyone can be fed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have right now. And now we're on this like back end of it where it's like, okay, we can try new things, which given the rise to like veganism or vegetarian, where they're like making these burgers, veggie burgers and stuff like vegan burgers, vegan patties. Like I don't know what they're made of, but they taste like meat. Yada yada.
Those are those like impossible burgers, right? Like the ones that are like not really meat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I've seen those.
There's
before.
the Beyond Meat. It's like a huge thing. That's this like. I think it's for vegetarianism. I think it's for vegetarians. Beyond Meat. It's like, but I've also heard counter arguments with those that like there's a lot of oils, and in those and like a lot of oil. Just like grab the hat.
Yeah.
A lot of oils aren't good for you either. I don't know. I'm just someone speaking like a dumbass right now. I don't know. I've heard that.
Yeah, I'm pretty ignorant on the topic.
Do your research.
So you're gonna
I don't
have
know.
to forgive me.
But I think like getting better meats that aren't as bad. And not as factory farm, like getting more grass fed.
I mean, absolutely,
isn't bad for you.
It's hard to think about things being humane when you're talking about like slaughterhouses and mass producing like meat, things like that. It's hard to be humane when you're talking about that. But if there is a better way or a more humane way to go about that, I think I would be all about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely. Like
it
just makes sense.
It's like the old ways of like Native Americans with like when you kill the animal, you use everything.
You use everything.
That's what I legit. My family's big hunting. I unfortunately, at least because of my dad, we moved away from that family that was so big into hunting. So I've never personally been hunting, but I know my family that went hunting. They went to visit them, stuff like that. Like they were the same way. They were like, we are using the entire animal.
Yeah,
And I think that's respectful. I think that's how it should be as hunting. I think that's how it should be.
I remember my times up in South Dakota, and the Oglala Lakota Oyate up there. Whenever they would kill a buffalo, they would use every single part of it.
Yeah.
From the tail to the meat to the bones, all the way up to the horns on the outside. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible. And if like that is a way to go about killing an animal. Use every bit of it.
I agree. I think you should. I think that's the respectable thing to do. You're not wasting it. You're you're making a hide. You're using the hide. I apologize.
You're making use of what has been given. You know?
Agreed. Yeah. Because that's like the cycle. I mean, it's like, you remember like Joe Rogan talks about hunting sometimes on his podcast. I don't know if you heard about it. And he talks about how like he goes hunting and he hunts elk. And, you know, a lot of people were like, oh my God, how could you kill the animal? And he's like, well, you know, if you ever seen an elk get hunted down before, like it's just, he's like, it's madness. Like there's 9 wolves like biting it and they're eating it alive. They're not killing it. Like they're just, it's just screaming the whole time and it's just eating it alive. Like, dude, what bears eat? Bears like grab onto these animals and they just like take chunks out while they're alive. Like they don't like kill it first. Like you see the lions and the tigers and they grab it, and the leopards, they grab the neck, right? They get the neck first, they goes limp, then they kill it, then they eat it.
Yeah.
That's probably the most humane nature will get.
I mean, yeah. If we're going about humane, naturable kills.
No, maybe. I'm just saying, like, well, technically the way we kill them is the most humane because it's like quick, done.
I don't know. If we're talking instantaneous, then maybe it's like an elephant stepping on an ant. Like that would be pretty instantaneous and quick. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're gonna break it down like that, that would be pretty.
Just squished it done. I agree, but I mean like when we're talking about like that's so true. Gosh. Okay, you got me there. You got me there. Well, I'm talking about like with like big game killing.
Yeah.
It's like the bears are just and wolves are just tearing these animals apart.
Have you seen
chunk by chunk, and we can come along and
like polar bears ripping animals apart, like going after a penguin or something?
I've seen them go after seals, and they come out with the blood all over their white fur, and you're like,
polar bears are the most vicious of all the bears.
That's what I've heard.
That's what I've heard. They're also the largest, I believe, next to the grizzly bear.
I think the grizzly takes the cake, but yes,
I don't know if you've ever seen a polar bear. They're pretty big. National Geographic has some great depictions of what I think they look like.
A white Sasquatch.
A very large white Sasquatch.
Just roaming the Arctic.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen them in Russia where they're like on that island? Those guys were like stuck in that building. And they were just, like 5 of them were like around.
No, there were 5 polar bears up in Russia that were just like
around
this
a
town.
Building. Well, like this town is like on the verge of like, it's in their territory or whatnot. But like there's oil issues up there. There's trash, blah, blah, blah. And like, so the polar bears was running out of food. And they're starting to migrate down into these towns, and they're like wreaking havoc and stuff like that.
Just imagine if you're sitting in that little town in Russia and there's a polar bear walking outside your living room window.
Dude, it's definitely happens. It's wild. I mean, Alaska, I'm sure they have like grizzlies that are walking down.
Wild shit happens out in Russia.
I could see Russia and Alaska being just. Absolutely. I could see like you could the big like city of like Anchorage, and it's just like there's a polar bear down.
There's a polar bear just walking
or
down the
a grizzly bear, whichever one they have there.
Walking down the middle of Main Street.
They probably have like warnings, like we get like an alert, like Amber Alert. They get like a bear alert, like walking down the street, like grizzly, don't come out tonight. And
grizzly bear outside, please be safe.
Like about to leave dinner, it's like, do not leave your building. You're like, all right, let's order another round of drinks.
Stay indoors.
Let's order another round of drinks and wait out this bear. That's nuts.
That's funny.
It's crazy how like detached we are from nature. I feel like.
How so?
Like nature. I'm not talking like a park. Like a park in the middle of the city.
Detached in what way?
The actual like experience of nature and how like some of these animals, like for instance, like we just talking about the polar bear and how the polar bear, we can see it as we think of polar bears like these cute and cuddly bears, and in reality is that thing would rip you to shreds.
Yeah, I think
if it ever saw you, anyone, not just like it's gonna pick and choose, like it would rip anyone to shreds.
I think it's your word choice. Nature sounds very like peaceful, very tranquil. Excuse me, very tranquil.
It does. It is. There are parts of it that are.
Call it the wild.
Okay.
And then think about it.
Well, yeah. When you say the wild, I immediately think of like madness happening.
That's
like
how it
the
really
movie The
is.
Gray, where like the wolves are just attacking us because we're getting closer to the den.
That's how shit really is.
Sorry, spoiler.
If you haven't seen it,
if you haven't seen the movie, it's been out for a while, so
pretty good movie. About it. Pretty good. But yeah, if you think about it as the wild, it completely changes your image of how you see things, and I believe that's a little bit more realistic.
You're not wrong.
Given there are some places on this earth, I'm sure, that I have been to, and others, that are very nature-like, very peaceful, very tranquil. And you think of the word nature when you're out there. But sometimes you step out into the wilderness, and you don't think nature. You think this is the wild, like we're here.
Yeah, we're very far away.
You know what I mean?
Home. Like I've been in a few of the national parks.
Anything could happen to us right now. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what's going on. Like I feel like it's just a different mentality. I don't know.
It is. No, I mean, and you're right. I mean, I've been in a couple of national parks, and national parks are huge for starters. Most of them are very big, and they've got like
the ones that I've been to, huge.
They've got 2-lane roads that like go through the whole park, and then they have park areas, and you can go off on a trail, or you can go off a dirt road. Like they have all these different options. If you've never been, highly recommend going to these parks. But they're huge, and there is a very distinct like, oh, we're in the middle of like, yes, there's a road here, but I have no phone service in the middle of this park. I'm completely without, if you don't know what your directions are, you literally could get lost on a path. Like it's not like it's for beginners. I mean, you could see it. I wouldn't recommend going off the paths or going out on the hikes.
Beginners, oh hell no! You stay on the paths, you follow the signs, and you don't go anywhere you're not supposed to. But if you're feeling adventurous, go get them, cowboy. I'm rooting for you.
But there's a fine line between that nature and like, because these wild parks, I mean, these national parks do have wild animals in them, so there is a level of wildness to them. Very rare, but like it is there. I mean, I didn't go to any crazy ones, but it was definitely like, oh wow, we're in the middle of like.
Of all the ones that you've been to, which one was your favorite?
I've only been to about 3, if I'm really to be honest. But I think Joshua Tree National Park has been my favorite.
And where is that located?
That is in Southern California. And
really?
It's
what was so special about
home to it? First off, it's just an interesting area of geography and such, because it's desert. It's basically desert, and you expect that, and I expected it to be like bare minimum nothing. But it's this Joshua tree is like what it's named after are these type of desert plants. I don't know if they're trees or cactuses. I don't think they're cacti. They're definitely, but they're taller than most cactuses. Okay. So, but they're these special type of trees called Joshua trees, and they
have like spikes on them, like cactus?
Yeah, they've got stuff on them. They're unique, and they're only unique to this area of California. That's that's why there's a national park around them, because they're very they're only to this area.
Cool.
And you're in the desert, and there's Joshua trees everywhere, and then there's these boulder formations throughout the park that you can climb on, and they're not like super high up. You can get to the top, then you're looking out over the desert, and then the desert is there, but then there's these small mountains or hills that people might call them hills up there. They're definitely lower mountains.
Sure.
And they're all around the desert as you're like coming in. You're going through them, these foothills, and so there's this. It's just crazy to be like at the desert, and then there's just boulders, and then there's the mountain, and there's random boulders like throughout the desert, so you can just climb up, and then you're just surrounded by flat desert. Yeah. Oh, I have videos and stuff.
That's gorgeous.
They will be going up shortly. This is the first podcast back. I should mention that this is my first podcast back in about 2.5, 3 weeks. So I was on vacation at all these national parks, and we are also a little remodeling here in the studio. So you'll see those videos shortly coming up on the page and stuff like that.
Looking forward to it. I really want to see those because I think that sounds really cool. I think of all the ones that I've been to, and I've been to some pretty cool ones, I think the Badlands National Park.
Where is that?
Out in South Dakota.
Badlands?
The Badlands National Park. And if you guys have ever been there, then it's definitely pretty cool. But if you haven't, it's magnificent.
So what is that makes the Badlands unique? Because all the national parks have something that makes them unique.
So the Badlands it's kind of out in like a desert, and it's got a lot of these really nice looking like mountainous rocks that kind of come up, and you can see the different levels in the rock. I don't know if is it the sedimentary or the metamorphic rock. Which one do you see the levels?
It's all, yeah.
Anyway,
It's all
you kind of get what I'm saying. It's kind of cool how you can see the levels cut all the way up through the entire mountain, and it just goes for miles, miles and miles and miles. And if you ever get the chance, I recommend going out to, what's it called? I think it's Red Mesa Canyon.
Okay.
Something like that. Beautiful overlook that they have over there. I got some pictures on there. I'll have to show you, but one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. And when I'm out there, and when I've been out there, that feels like almost a nice mixture between the two, between nature and the wild.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're out there and it's dead quiet. You can hear a pin drop
Right.
like
Agreed.
a mile away.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. And you can look over and just hear the slightest thing and there's a bighorn sheep right up on top of the ledge, which is something that beautiful. Or look over there and say, oh, shoot, there's like 3 buffalo that are feeding over there. Or there's a whole herd of wild cows just running out of nowhere.
I love it.
Yeah, like, it's awesome. So, like, it's nice and it's peaceful and it's dead quiet, but at the same time, like, you know that there's still something around you that could definitely mess you up if you're not careful. You gotta be careful in the wild. You know what I mean?
You do. Yeah, you do. I know. Yeah, that's how I felt at Joshua Tree. The one that was like oddly felt very wild, but not like animal wise, just like you're out here in the middle of nowhere, was Death Valley. Like, Death Valley is
Never been. I always wanted to go.
So Death Valley, if those of you don't know, it's in Southern California, and it's the lowest point. I think it's the lowest point on Earth. I know it goes down to sea level, and it is, again, it's inland, so it's really odd to be inland and then go down to sea level.
Yeah.
But it's this. I mean, it's literally just like carved, like of any valley. It's just carved in the middle of these mountains. So like you're going into it. As you're going into it, you're kind of hitting some desert and whatnot. And then you're going up into these mountains and foothills, and you go up, and then you come back down, and you go from like 6,500 feet to 0.
Damn.
And then, if not below, I think there's some parts that are below. Don't quote me on that.
Below
I'm not positive.
sea level, huh?
I'm not positive on that.
Are we in the water?
There's no water there. It's dry as can be. And but that was like a sense of like, because so it's one thing, like, this is the best way to describe it. It's like everyone's seen mountains, or most people have seen mountains at some point. And like, you see mountains, like if you go to Colorado and you drive into Colorado Springs, the highway, like you take like foothills, and all of a sudden, like, you're just boom, you see the mountains. And you're seeing the mountains though, but you're already at, what is it, Colorado? Like, you're already at 5,000 feet of elevation, if not more.
Yeah.
And then the mountains are getting, then the mountains are another 4 to 5, if not up to 14,000 feet, but you're already at 5,000. Death Valley, you're at 0 looking up to the mountain.
That's
so
crazy.
It's an entirely like
so it's probably
different,
like right there.
Yeah, it's an entirely different view, because you're seeing the mountains like from the ground up.
Yeah.
It's entirely different than any other place I've seen mountains at, and it's magnificent to see like the mountains form from the foothills to like the small canyons to the foothills to the next. I don't know what the next would be, and then like the peaks and stuff are coming up. Like it's and they're not huge mountains, but they do look significantly larger than most mountains you see, and that's just because you're at 0 looking up.
Yeah, like thinking about it, I could see how that would be totally just mesmerizing.
And you were talking about the different rock formations and like sedimentary and all that stuff. You're seeing it, all of it. Yeah. You're seeing it from the ground up, like
that's incredible.
The old rock. You're seeing the rock, like you can see where like things have converged. Different, like at certain points, if the sun hits it right, you're seeing different layers of it. Like it was really sick. I was very impressed by Death Valley. It wasn't the best park I've been to, but it was very impressive. It looked almost like Tatooine in Star Wars, for the like Star Wars fans out there. Oh, there were parts of it where you're like, holy shit, this is like Tatooine.
No way.
Yeah.
Huh,
there's random sand dunes in it too.
Really?
So Death Valley is like 0, like bedrock, like dried up ground. Then there's a part where there's these random sand dunes from like the wind being brought over this one ridge and it can't get over the other ridge. And then there's salt flats. There's all these different minerals and stuff. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy.
That's wild. One of these days, I'm gonna make it out there. One of these days, I'm gonna make it out to California. I really am. I know I'm gonna go out there at some point, and I do want to see Death Valley because that sounds like it'd be super cool.
That's one. I mean, I'll be when we were going on the trip. That wasn't my vote to go see it. I had voted to go see Sequoia or Kings Canyon because they're more hiking, more mountainous. I like that more.
Sure.
But I was thoroughly impressed with it. Joshua Tree was the favorite. It was I saw. So
Joshua Trees.
Look up Joshua Trees. They're really cool.
Joshua Trees.
The best way to describe a Joshua Tree, which me and my group came up with, it's like Joshua Tree is like what all the trees look like if you're tripping.
Really?
So they already look like that. So I don't know what they look like when you're under the influence, but like Joshua trees look like the other trees potentially, most of the other trees when you're under the influence.
Wow.
That was what some people in my group had come up with. And I, you know what? Kind of agree.
Like if you
kind of could see it.
Tripping on acid, that's how they would look.
Wow. That's how like an oak tree would look. And then you're seeing, but it's like you're sober and you're seeing it. Right. So now I was like, wonder how old these trees are. I bet you these are like some wise. Like they almost reminded me as like wise old trees. Like they're in the desert. They've been here forever. They've seen the ecosystem went from lush land to dry desert. They've survived, and those trees got some stories.
If trees could talk,
those trees got some stories. I'm telling you.
Trees could talk, man.
You ever talk to a tree?
Several times.
Totally.
You know me pretty well. You know that's something that I would do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I'm like, hey, trees.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, in passing, I don't know about like sitting there having a full-on conversation with one. I'd look like a crazy person.
I'm sure there's people that have. I would love to have someone on and talk about their experience with talking to trees, like legit. And I'm assuming you're under the influence. I'm just going to assume that right now.
If there's
you're under the influence of something
out there that has had a full-on conversation with a tree, get in touch with one of us, and you got to come on this show because we want to hear it.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
All about that experience.
What it
like.
said, everything.
Yeah.
It's like Moses in the burning bush.
Moses in the burning bush. There you go.
Yeah,
just like biblical. In the Bible. I like that. Now we're turning biblical, huh?
They were probably tripping. I just say it.
They were tripping in the Bible.
They definitely might have been. There's so many theories about that. How like they could be.
I mean, I'm sure that they found some sort of plant on this earth and messed around with it. I don't know. You got to think. That was years and years and years ago.
Like centuries ago.
Yeah, that's a few years.
Billions upon billions upon billions of years. I don't know what that's from, but that's saying. It's in my head forever. Someone's like, that was a long time ago. And I'm like, billions upon billions of years ago.
Where does that even come from?
It's from some skit. It's from some skit. I don't remember where it's come from. I totally forgot.
No, it's all right. Brain fart.
Yeah. Well, I ended on that note. Billions of years ago.
Billions and billions of years ago.
Skantze, I appreciate you having you come on again, dude. It's always a pleasure. Always a fun time.
It's always a fun time anytime we come here.
First podcast back in fucking 3 weeks, so I'm glad we could get this done and sit down and get back in the swing of things here.
Absolutely.
Peace.